So, folks, David here, TexasHornsFans.com. Thought we'd do a vent video, get the frustration out. Let me know what you think the problem is with this crap. But Texas drops to TCU 33-31, really 33-29. 1-1 in the conference. I think everybody would agree that this team should be 0-2 in the conference, and we just keep seeing the same crap. We keep seeing the same crap of this team not being able, for some reason, to just take control of a game and control the pace, and really just unable to dominate another team, and allowing the other team to always do what they do best, right? Always allowing them to control the pace. So, should 29 points be good enough to beat TCU? Yeah, absolutely. Going into the game, I was thinking somewhere around Texas in the high 20s to low 30s, and TCU around the mid 20s. So, in terms of the overall points scored, yeah, you absolutely should have beaten a team like TCU if Texas is going to score 4 touchdowns. It's hard to, I guess, know where to start with a debacle like that. TCU's obviously got a good defense. That might be the best defense Texas faces this year, but I just don't think it matters. I think what we have in this team is a team that's just going to allow whoever their opponent is, it's probably going to be a close game. Kansas is probably going to be a close game. It's almost like that's what they just kind of expect. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like this team goes out there and just absolutely imposes their will and attacks. Maybe against UTEP, right? But needed a miracle to beat Tech, and was right there to beat TCU, or to at least tie it up, and somebody comes up with a bad play, right? So all of that's frustrating. The most frustrating part was just the overall total sloppiness of it all. The sloppy penalties, the holding on the kickoff return where Bijan brings it down, by the 5. So that comes back. A long gain by Keontae Ingram. That comes back. Constant penalties. Yeah, TCU committed a lot of penalties too. Thank goodness, or this game might have been, 40-29 or 45-29. I thought by the third quarter things looked like, okay, maybe they've settled down. The defense kept allowing TCU to drive, but they held them to field goals, which was good to see. Max Duggan was good. He didn't put up a ton of numbers, right? I thought the pressure on him was decent. He was just getting rid of the ball a tenth of a second before he got hit. And then in the third quarter, we saw more pressure on him and more hits on him. I think it's kind of pointless to kind of pick apart who did good, who did bad, because at the end, it's just a team that can't put it all together. Sam looked bad at times. He also looked great at times. Keontae Ingram was kind of nowhere to be found at times, and he had other runs and catches that looked great. So you kind of had this weird just inability to put it all together. And really, if you really think about the last 2 seasons, I think really there's only been 2 games where this team has really been able to put it together as a whole, and that was the 2 bowl games, the Sugar Bowl against Georgia and the Alamo Bowl over Utah. If you really kind of go back and look at it, most of the other games were just either a really good offense and a no-show defense or the other way around. And I think that's what we keep seeing, is that just an inability to put it all together, right? Yeah, sometimes you're going to have players that have bad games, but they just can't get out of their own way. They just can't overcome themselves. And it's just pathetic. So I see a lot of comments coming in here. I wanted this to be for you guys. So put the comments in here. I'll highlight as many as I can that aren't repeating. Sajad says Tom Herman is just an average coach. It's that simple. So far, I think that his signature wins are the bowl wins, and those matter, but you also have to win the games you're supposed to win. I do think that's a great point. You can't beat Kansas by 7 points or need a miracle to beat Kansas or need a miracle to beat Texas Tech and then constantly lose to TCU, who, yeah, Gary Patterson has absolutely outcoached Tom Herman without question. No question whatsoever. Eric, kind of same thing. Poor coaching. They didn't come out to play, had no energy. That's what it certainly felt like, especially early in the game, was just kind of like it was last year. If you remember the TCU game last year, it was just a struggle. Everything was just a struggle. And, maybe you had an open receiver like Jake Smith had a couple of great catches, and then he drops a ball that was just it was wide open. Brennan Eagles had a long touchdown catch. Josh Moore was kind of a no-show. Tariq Black, I think, had 1 catch. Tariq Black's kind of living up to his jersey number the last few games, 0. No catches against Tech, and I think he had 1 catch, just 1 catch tonight. Brandon says Ingram should never have another carry at Texas. I absolutely still think Ingram is without question the best running back on this team. I think the run blocking has been absolutely atrocious. Getting pushed at the line just has been horrible. Ingram is without question, I think, the most talented running back on the team. But yeah, he has come up with some just horribly timed mistakes. The drop against LSU last year, the drop touchdown, he fumbles at the end of the game, right at the goal line, reaching for it on a first down run. He didn't even need to reach for it, right? You don't need to win the game right then on first down. It's not like that was 4th down with 2 seconds to go. Hey, it might have even been a good idea for Texas to run a couple plays and run some time off the clock. You at least could kick a field goal to tie it up, right? And let's give a hat tip to Ingram. He was the one that got them down there. He just also was the one that coughed up the game at the end. Cheryl is talking about the refs. Yeah, the refs were absolutely atrocious. They missed one obvious holding call on TCU, a non-call on the play where Max Dugan went out at the 1-yard line, where it looked like he might have scored, and then they scored after that. But that absolutely was a holding call. They missed, I felt like, a absolutely blatant pass interference non-call against Eagles that was not as bad as I think it looked live, but it absolutely was a pass interference. Wyatt says this comes down to coaching, failure to make any sort of adjustments and attack what's working. Yeah, I think the lack of the attack mentality is what's pretty sad here. Um, just kind of having that feeling that it's like, oh, do we have to play TCU? Like we actually have to come out here and play? And it's just, yeah, it's just clear when you see so many penalties. Um, you see the other team out coaching Texas. That's what's so incredibly frustrating. And you know, I think we can say that they didn't give up, but that's not enough. You know, and I'm kind of sick and tired of players and coaches expecting full, complete, 100% support no matter what. Come early, be loud, stay late kind of mentality from the fans when they've got to do that too, right? You've got to put forth some effort and show some heart and firiness, because if you want the fans to devote their time and effort and energy to support you, which they should, it's got to be there on the field too, right? You're putting together, something that where it's not a one-sided thing. So I'm kind of sick and tired of players and coaches and some other fans with this pathetic mentality that the fans should give it their all 100% of the time, no matter what, what the team's doing. Yeah, Tony kind of said what I was saying about Ingram is that you have 4 downs to stretch the football like that. You don't need to do that on first down. You're at the half-yard line and it would be second down. You don't need to be a hero and risk putting the ball out like that in a pile already. Yeah, absolutely right. And again, Texas probably, maybe from a strategy standpoint, would be fine with running the clock down a little bit. So sure, pound it a couple times. If you score, great, you go ahead. If you don't score, okay, you run some time off the clock and you still have another play to try to score. Point is, you're in control and you just completely 100% gave up that control. Michael says the last touchdown by TCU left the middle of the defense wide open. Not sure what team could have. Yeah, it absolutely was. The middle of the defense is without question the weakest soft spot in this defense. We saw it against Tech. How many times did we see their receivers run, slants or posts? Just attacking right in the middle of the defense. It's just wide open. Michael, yeah, same thing. Todd says that Herman is semi-decent in the preseason. What everybody is. He's great in the postseason and extremely inconsistent in the middle. He's in over his head. Houston can have him back. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like every year there's always this really frustrated struggle stretch of games, and then things, finish good toward the end of the season. 2 years ago, we're in the conference championship, having to play Oklahoma again. Last year, decent finish to the season, beating Texas Tech to end the conference, and then beating Utah in the Alamo Bowl, but still too many losses. I mean, it's losing the second game of conference. You immediately take 10 steps back. Oklahoma loses to Kansas State. The conference is wide open, and now it's just a mess. Steve says Chris Ash is overrated so far. We'll see. But I absolutely no excuse whatsoever. But yeah, I'll still go back to a team that's trying to usher in new coordinators, new schemes, new supposedly the rugby style tackling that has looked atrocious so far. I think so many times we've seen defenders, especially defensive backs, trying to tackle without using their arms. They might as well not have arms. They're just using shoulder. which is unbelievably frustrating. We saw a ton of whiffs. I think things got better in the second half defensive-wise, especially toward the line of scrimmage. I thought that they really did a good job of controlling the run at the line of scrimmage, but, again, too little too late. Yeah, I agree with Clint here because they don't have that killer instinct. We always play down to the level of the competition. Yeah, that I absolutely think that's true. There's just not that feeling, and you know it when you see it. You know when teams just go out there and absolutely just put their foot on the opponent's neck and control the whole thing, and that we don't see that from this team. I think at times we see them taking back control, but it's never like, okay, we have the control now, we took it back, we settled down, and now we're just going to put you away. We don't see that. And I think with a lot of teams, you're going to see that with teams that get ahead and that are able to run the ball down your throat and run it out and control the line of scrimmage. Carol blames the defense 2 weeks in a row. Definitely lucky to win last week. Absolutely agree there. I think overall the defense was just they just let TCU get up too early. But again, the offense had a chance to win, okay? Should 29 points be enough to beat TCU? Yes, absolutely. That should be enough to beat TCU at home. So that's on the defense. It's on the offense to be half a yard from going up and taking control of the game and just not being able to do it. It's like they found a way to lose. Sajjad says, does Texas seem slow to you? At times, yeah. There's just not that fast kind of route running, run your route, hit the guy in stride, and let your receivers run. Sometimes that does happen. And it also just that's another thing that you kind of feel, right? And I think that's from an offensive standpoint when the offense is just kind of humming, right? Quick pace, snap the ball, first down, next. And too many third downs in this game for the offense. We didn't see enough first down to first down or maybe second down to first down. Too many third downs. Too many situations where we got to get the first down here. We gotta make it this time. No killer instinct. Yeah, for sure. Daniel agrees. Thomas agrees. No killer instinct. Casey predicts that this Texas team will be the worst since the Charlie Strong era. Maybe. And also, guys, don't forget to check out the website, too, if you haven't yet, TexasHornsFans.com. Just to give a shout out to the website. Let me know what other stuff you want to see on there. We've got a lot of cool stuff up there. Kind of complete Twitter feed section where we're pulling in Twitter feeds from almost all the players that matter, which is kind of fun. And kind of a shrine to some of the legends up there. So definitely go check it out at TexasHornsFans.com. James says that the officials cost Texas 3 possible scores. Or at least they allowed TCU to they impacted TCU's score, some of TCU's scores. Will says, how about we highlight that Sam can't throw consistently? All of a sudden, he throws the long ball too long. We need a strong arm because this quarterback. Yeah, I think Sam has been inconsistent the last 2 games. I think he's been better than he's been bad. But again, perfect example, I think, was his interception today. There's no question that was a miscommunication. Was it Sam's fault? Was it Josh's fault? I don't know. He was going for Josh. Josh kind of went outside. Sam obviously thought he was going to cut it inside and cut in front of his defender. And that's when Sam let it go and it was a pick. But yeah, Sam definitely has been inconsistent. TCU is not going to give you much, right? They're going to cover you tight, so the windows aren't going to be there like they are. I think Sam also he gets in those modes where he tries to do too much. But let's remember what this program has trotted out at quarterback over the last 10 years. Okay. It's not easy to find a quarterback like Sam. I don't put it's easy, I think, for fans to just blame it on the quarterback because he's kind of front and center. My biggest problem with this offense right now is the run blocking. It's just atrocious. It's decent at times, but there's no consistency. There's no consistent push off the line of scrimmage. We had defenders on the running backs a yard or two into the backfield, and it's just pathetic. Yeah, Todd says Ingram has had issues with ball handling. Agreed, and it just happened to come at absolutely the worst time. Nathan says Ellinger was out of rhythm and looked uncomfortable most of the game. Agreed. Let me see if I can put a screen share. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to share my screen here. Okay. All right. Let me know if you guys see that. Hopefully it comes up. Yeah, I think that's good. Oops. Dang it. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out this StreamYard. StreamYard. All right, let me know if you can see the screen. I just want to kind of go over some stats here. So TCU has 457 yards of total offense. Absolutely too much. You can't allow more than 400 yards of offense to TCU. That might be the most they have all season. Texas has 388 yards of offense. Definitely not enough. You can take the 2 points off the score here, obviously, for the safety. But again, I still say 29 points is enough to beat TCU. And even how it's spread out here, 7 in the first, 7 in the second, 7 in the third, and then the touchdown and 2-point conversion in the fourth. So just no time where Texas just kind of surged and really took over. Okay, Wyatt says he can see. Thanks, Wyatt. And then, Max Dugan, however you say his name, 79 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns, 239 yards passing. This doesn't bother me at all. 20 of 30, 231 passing with no touchdowns. I think where he did so great was just making plays when he needed to and not taking the big sack. This is really, really embarrassing to me. If you take out Roshan Johnson's 40-yard gain, I mean, you're looking at 23 yards for Johnson, 49 for Sam, and 40 for Ingram. Yeah, that's just pathetic. But, I also want to see Ingram get the ball more than 11 times. Running backs need to build up momentum. Yeah, Quindon Johnson, remember he was the receiver, true freshman who decommitted from Texas and then signed with TCU. So he led them in receiving yards. Jared Wiley was good. He had a big catch early in the game. Ingram puts up 52 yards receiving, including that long one at the end. Jake, 6 catches, 49 yards. one touchdown right there on the goal line, and Eagles has his one. Yeah, Tariq Black did catch one. So, spread the ball around well. A lot of guys caught passes. Brendan Schooler was kind of a no-show, but Jake, I think got that time. Penalties, obviously massive. I think it was just under 100 yards of penalties. So, yeah, just under 100 yards of penalties, and really just happening at the worst times. That was more, and most of them were kind of the bonehead penalties, right? Just lining up. I think on one I think it was Quindon Jones where he was downfield, too far downfield on a long pass to Avante Woodard. Stuff like that. Lewis says, don't belong in the top 10. Yeah, without question, no. And they certainly don't now. No question. They could have been 3-0 headed into Oklahoma. So, like I said earlier, the Big 12 was wide open. The Big 12 was wide open. Chris says the offensive line was bad in the first. Ingram is not good. Offensive line absolutely was bad. No, Ingram is a very good running back. He is a very versatile, and we've seen it. He made an absolutely boneheaded mistake, and you can't do that. I know he was trying to score, but that was a first down play, and you had plenty of downs and plenty of time. Herb Hand, horrible. I mean, like I said, if you can't run block and control the line of scrimmage and allow your running backs to have one-on-one battles with the second line of defense, it doesn't matter. If you're not run blocking, I don't care if Barry Sanders is back there. It's you've got to control the line. But I'm trying to see if we missed anything. Most everybody else's comments are kind of duplicated. But anyway, there we go, guys. I appreciate jumping on. I appreciate all the comments. I know everybody's frustrated. I think the only thing that we can hope for is to win the rest of the games. Obviously, if they do that, they're still in the conference championship game. But I don't think we see any indication that that's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if every single game this season is either close or a blowout where Texas loses. I don't see Texas just coming out and just totally controlling the game, even against the worst teams. Because listen, TCU is going to lose 4 games this year. They already lost against Iowa State. Yeah, it was a close game, but they kind of made it close at the end. TCU I think was going to lose to Oklahoma State. They might lose to Kansas State, and I'd see them losing at least 3 or 4 games in the conference. So. Ronald says we might lose 4 or 5 games. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I in my predictions on the YouTube channel, I absolutely had Texas losing 1 game. I had the loss coming against Oklahoma State. So, we'll see. But, obviously Gary Patterson owns Tom Herman. There's no question about that. But, all right, guys, I appreciate it. That's all. I'm going to jump off. But don't forget to check us out, TexasHornsFans.com, if you're on the Instagrams, at TexasHornsFans. I appreciate it. We're going to go over 60,000 followers on this page this season. So share it out, invite some people on here, tag some people. We'll do some more fun stuff, but it just sucks getting the L in the 3rd game of the season. But, hey, credit TCU. So we'll see. Big game next week. We'll get up for that. So we'll do some more. We'll do some more preview later in the week. But appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Horns always up, though.